What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/entitled people. Alright, here we have a story called
Entitled Roommate Has No Idea I Left. Updated. Had to resubmit. Got removed. Sorry.
My original post got removed. Had to repost. Sorry for the annoyance. I guess I'll have to forgive you. So I moved in with my coworker, working together about 3 years. She's almost 60, I'm 23, on the 1st of the month. I thought it was going to be calm and chill, considering her age and how much of an introvert I am. Boy, was I completely wrong. I had never met anyone more entitled in my life, and I have a lot of stories I could have posted here, but this one I just had to. Just a few things that have happened less than a month of me being there. 1. While I was at work, she sent me a message asking to borrow $100 to go out and have fun. She has borrowed money from me in the past, and she gives it back in increments of 5s and 10s throughout a period of months. I told her I don't have $100 to just give to her, and she said, "What about $80? As if that makes it more doable. I told her no, and she said if I trusted her, I would give her my bank card so she could go take out the money she wanted from the bank and then bring my card back. No? I told her money doesn't leave my bank unless I'm taking it out, and she acted like I was only doing this so she couldn't go out and have a fun time. I lent her $12 that same morning for gas money. 2. A few hours after asking me to borrow $100, she sent me another message telling me that I need to keep the curtains open always and make sure I tidy everything up before bed every night because that's how she likes her house. I told her that no, I will not be keeping the curtains open at night because it makes me feel unsafe, and also asked her if there was a reason for her to be saying I need to keep things clean. She responded back telling me how she likes her curtains and to remember to keep them open during the day or before I ever leave the house. She also said there was no particular reason for her saying to keep things tidy. She was just telling me so I know. I'm not a neat freak, but by no means have I ever left a mess for anyone else to find. I told her she was being ridiculous, and she told me it wasn't ridiculous and it's not a big deal to just listen to what she was saying and that I was stressing her out. 3. That same day I was still at work, she told me she was going out anyway. I guess the $100 wasn't really essential, huh? And if I could bring her laundry up to her room for her. Mind you that this laundry is laundry that I did the night before, and I folded all of her clothes and put them on the couch for her. She didn't work the night I did laundry or the next day, and she let it sit on the couch. I was in the middle of a 9-hour shift in the middle of a rush when she asked that. I did not respond. It was very hard to come back after work and see it sitting on the couch and not throw it all back into the dryer. 4. She has been gone for days now. No idea where she is, but last night after I got out of work, she sent me a message saying that this wasn't working out and she's going through too much in her life to have me add to the stress. Denying her money, questioning her requests, asking if I'm a house guest or paying half the rent stresses her out. I agreed and told her that this is too stressful for both of us and that I would leave before the end of the month. She freaked out. She told me that I'm not allowed to just leave and have to give her a notice and pay a fee of $81.25. The exact amount she said. Just for the inconvenience. I never signed anything when I moved in. We didn't even have a verbal agreement. It hasn't even been a full month. I told her that her half of the cable and Wi-Fi bill, I got it for us, plus the $60 she owes me from 1 week alone, should cover that mysterious fee. The first week of me being there, she would walk in my room while I was sleeping, wake me up, and start talking about her day. Waking up to someone hovering over me is something that happened with a very bad ex numerous times, and every time she would do knew that I would be terrified, and she knew I went through a situation like this. 6. If I left anything on the bathroom counter, she would move it in a drawer and tell me that my stuff goes into that drawer. 7. I left a brush on the table downstairs before leaving for work, and I came back to find it lying on the ground outside my bedroom door. 8. I've come back to find all my wine coolers gone numerous times because when she runs out of beer, she will drink whatever I have in the fridge. 9. She hasn't taken out the trash not once out of all the time I have been there. She would repeatedly ask me why we don't talk anymore. She loved to vent about herself, then tell me she feels like she's walking on eggshells around me because I don't want to talk to her anymore. I like to be alone, especially after working 8-hour shifts days in a row. 11. When I tried explaining how I felt to her, she would get extremely defensive and act like I was purposely trying to stress her out. She couldn't say how stressed out her life has been the past few months enough, and anything I did that she didn't want me to was just so awful to her, and I was out to get her. When I would leave the house, it's rare, but it happens, she would call me at least twice and send at least 2 messages within a 2-hour period. I felt like I was being suffocated, and when I expressed that to her, she got really defensive and made me feel bad for saying anything at all. Not even a month. Since she's been MIA for the past 3 days, the "this isn't working out" message happened last night, I started packing immediately after she sent that. It was almost like a saving grace. I've been debating on leaving since the 2nd week, and that sealed it for me, and continued on in the morning. It took me all day, but I did it, and she still thinks I'm going to be there until the end of the month. She's going to walk in to no cable or Wi-Fi, the same movie she's had for years, and a pile of laundry on the couch. She should feel lucky I left the dish soap, laundry detergent, paper towels, dish sponge, and 2 rolls of toilet paper because I've been buying all that too. I took all the groceries I bought that I still wanted and my ice cube tray. My mom couldn't stop laughing because she was so shocked she was like this. She had no idea. And Wednesday, she's helping me set up my room again. Feels good to be home. Update! She left a voicemail telling me I was to come back today because it's my day off and grab the rest of my stuff. I left a box in the shed because it's locked and she has the key. It's VHS tapes. And I will not come and go as I please. I'm not allowed there anymore, and that I left the room an absolute mess, and she has to clean all day. I didn't want to hear her voice, so I sent her a message and told her I would be going Wednesday, not today, and technically I still have a week left. I also told her I hope she didn't do anything to that room because I did in fact take a full-blown video of the room before I left that has the date. Her landlord is giving me back the security deposit on Wednesday. That's why I'm going Wednesday. She replied and said it was really wrong of me to decide to leave, and I don't have a choice. I come today or Wednesday. That's final. So decide right now, and that I'll learn as I get older, and it's going to be so tough for me. I told her that I already said I'm going Wednesday, that I left because she said it wasn't working out, and I agreed. And why would I stay if we're both so uncomfortable? I told her a lot of things she did were so wrong, but I wasn't about to spend my day off arguing with her, so have a nice day. Bye-bye. She says bye-bye to me whenever she sends me a condescending message. Then I put her on ignore again. She won't be there Wednesday, but I'll make an update about what happens when I go. Update 2! A mutual coworker of ours called me. We used to all work together at a different job, and told me that she has been blowing her up and calling her multiple times in a row since I left to vent about how awful and how horrible of a person and roommate I am. The lies she is saying are outrageous, and I can't imagine all the people she must be calling and will continue to call until the wee hours. She calls people whenever she feels like it. And from what she said to her, I believe that she trashed my room, good thing I have the video, to try and make it so I don't get the deposit. I sent all the screenshots of what she's been messaging me to her. Some of them contradict what she told her, and she was laughing at the blatant lying she was doing. She also made it out to sound like I wasn't paying rent and just staying there free. And turns out, whenever I didn't answer one of her messages while I was at work or just in general, she would call her and yell about how disrespectful and rude I was and how done she is is with me and what nerve I have to be living in her house and not respond or listen to her. And apparently, she absolutely lost her on the phone about the curtain thing when I said no, but she didn't mention asking to borrow $100 or take my bank card. The real kicker is that ex-roommate owes her $40. I am not ready for work tomorrow. That sounds like an absolute nightmare of a roommate to have had, and I am thankful that you shared these experiences with us, because that woman is ridiculous and 100% entitled. She needs to be given a healthy dose of, a dose of Reddit, of course, and a dose of perspective. Alright, this story's called First Time Meeting the Most Entitled Person Ever. Okay, so before I start the story, I should preface this with the fact that this is a supremely long series. It's only a month old apparently. But yeah, Soapy here, user Brandy Aiden Love. They have a long list of stories. And here's the first one. Let's get started. This happened almost 20 years ago and was just a mild precursor to the antics this person would pull to always be the center of attention. There isn't much dialogue, but the background is my husband and I were very young when our twins were born, 21 and 18. Jesus. Brother-in-law was the uncle that gave mother-in-law $20 for each kid, birthdays and Christmas, and have her buy a gift. He might or might not show for any actual celebration. That's funny. That's kind of sad, but it's funny. 10 years later, secondary infertility, our next child was born. Again, same as with the twins, never really around. Don't think he ever came to one of her birthday parties. I never gave it much thought since he was the perpetual partying bachelor. 4 years later, our last child was born. This had been a difficult pregnancy, in and out of the hospital, on bed rest, resulting in a cesarean. Now at the time, this hospital had a very lax visitor policy on the L&D floor. As long as you were quiet, they didn't limit you. I had a private double room, so my room could hold quite a few people. The second day after the youngest was born, it seemed like everyone on both sides of the family showed up. Now, my family is a bit bigger than my husband, so most of the visitors were my relatives and had never heard of or met brother-in-law. Imagine our surprise when brother-in-law showed up to visit since he had never taken any interest in our other children. With brother-in-law is a woman that I have never met. We're calling her Lilith from now on, and if I make future posts of her antics. Husband is showing brother-in-law his new nephew, and brother-in-law actually held him. Shock! I notice Lilith poking brother-in-law and frantically whispering something. Brother-in-law says, "Okay," loudly. Unusual since he's very soft-spoken. This got everyone's attention and conversation stalls.
Well, I guess this is as good of a time as any. This is Lilith and we're getting married next month. I guess we're having a baby in month.
Cue the jaws dropping and polite murmurs of congratulations, but one of my aunts looked at me and said, "Did he really just make that announcement in your hospital room to your family?" One of husband's aunts said,
"Yes, he did, and I can't believe he did."
She then asked me how long he had been dating Lilith, and I shook my head, telling her I have never heard of this woman. The next day, mother-in-law told husband that Lilith had convinced brother-in-law it was exactly the right time to introduce her since the whole family was there. Introduce? Okay, maybe, but announce a wedding and a baby in my hospital room 2 days after I nearly died on the operating table? Like I said, this was just a hint as to the lengths she would go through to be the center of attention. Yikes, that's awkward. How do people do things like that and not realize what people are thinking? Like, that's just ridiculous. All right, this story's called Kid Didn't Know the Substitute Was My Mom. So a few years ago, my mom worked as a substitute teacher for my school. She rarely did high school because she hates kids my age. Anyway, I had been bullied by some of the kids in my class and was not having a good day, or week for that matter. I knew my mom was working that day, but she didn't know she was working until later in the day. It was time for English, and I was late because I had to get changed from gym. I get changed in a stall because I get weirded out in front of people. Anyway, my mom was in the classroom but hadn't hadn't told her name yet. Anyway, I walk in and go, "Oh, hey mom, I didn't realize you were in English," while going in for a small hug. The kids' faces turned into horror when I said that. Some of the kids tried being buttholes, but my mom wasn't having their crap. She shut it down. That was the last and only time my mom subbed for high school. She said my class was the worst out of the 6 other ones. I couldn't blame her, but the next day all the good kids in class were praised. The bad kids had hellfire rained upon them by our English teacher. I don't talk to the mean kids in my class and will call them out when needed. I still hate school. I have many other stories if y'all want to hear them. That's really sad. Well, let me say this. We can all agree that being picked on really sucks. However, there are ways to avoid it. You can intimidate them, which a lot of people might suggest to do, or you can become cool by being funny, which is a good way to do things. Because girls like the funny guy, and people want to be around the funny guy, and people don't pick on the funny guy because, well, he's the funny guy. Everyone likes him. Why would you want to do that? Might not be the best advice given that I don't know your specific situation. So all I gotta say, man, is I hope everything works out, and thank you for sharing your story.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.